In this video, the most important geopolitical events of the 19th century until the 20th for the purpose of analyzing the social change integrate geography and politics. The wars of independence and divestiture of countries like Ecuador in 1809, Venezuela 1811, Argentina 1816, Mexico and Colombia 1810, Chile 1818, Paraguay 1811, Peru 1820, Bolivia and Uruguay 1825, among others. First industrial revolution. In the industrial revolution is the process of economic, social and technological transformation that began in the second half of the 18th century in the region. A few decades later spread to much of the Western Europe and the United States, and that concluded between the 1820 and 1840. During this period, the largest set of economic, technological and social transformation in the history of the humanity lies since the Neolithic times. The first saw the strong rural economy based mainly on agriculture and trade to an urban economy, industrialized and mechanistic character. The term of the Second Industrial Revolution refers to the set interrelationship economic transformation that occurred approximately between 1817 and the beginning of the First World War in 1914. The technical change continued to occupy a central position next to those that occurred in the markets, design and structure. May 3 in Madrid, the Spanish people struggled against French domination under the Operation May 2 and the beginning of the War of Spanish independence. The revolution of the 1830s was a revolutionary process that began in France with the so-called July Revolution of the Three Glories. Revolutionary days in the Paris that left to the throne to Louis Philippe I of the France and opened the period known as July Monarchy. Labor movements during the 1830 and 1840 Workers' Association were founded in the continental European countries, including Germany, France, Spain, and Belgium. The labor movement was manifested in the most industrialized countries through other organizations such as cooperatives. Modern states. Later between 1815 and 1818, the emergence of modern nation states and the industrialization occurs as Italy, Germany, and France. In this connection, the socialist doctrines began to create class parties.
And I remember when I met him, it was so clear that he was the only one for me.
The First World War, also known as Great War, was our found primarily in Europe, which began on July 28, 1914 and ended on November 11, 1918, when Germany axed the armistice, and later on 28 June 1990. The warring countries signed the Treaty of Versailles. Ultimate beginning of the Second World War, this war was simply called Great War or World War II.
Magnetic, electric, and everybody knew it. When he walked in,
The Second World War was a global military conflict that took place between 1939 and 1945. It began involving most of the world's nations, including our great powers grouped into two opposing military alliances are the alliance of World War II war and the Axis powers.
And missing out on all of the opportunities that life could offer a man as magnificent as him.
The landing of May 8, 1945 in Normandy marked the beginning of the end of the Third Reich and the Second World War.
I left him, I left him, I left him.
The creation of the State of Israel in Palestine in 1917 caused by the migration of the Jews, the spread of anti-Semitism, Jews claiming a territory. In 1948, the State of the Eight was accepted by the UNO was created.
And I still love him.
The America of John F. Kennedy ideas succeeded despite the missile crisis, the defeat and the Bay of the Pinks and the Cuba and the construction of the Berlin Wall became a global icon until his death in November 1963. The Prague Spring started early in 1968 in Czechoslovakia under civil reforms to change the communist ideas. The Soviet Union and the Warsaw Pact force prevented this change towards democracy. It became independent in 1989 by the end of the Velvet Revolution. The nationalists and terrorists used to impose the ideas on some groups in Europe and Latin America in the late 60s movements that following the same Mao Zedong, Che Guevara, Ho Chi Minh, the foundation of the Red Army in Germany, now originally as the Banda Badr and the Red Brigades in Italy, the creation of the PL in 1964, ETA in 1959, Al Qaeda in 1988. The end of the Vietnam War in 1973 and the withdrawal of American troops in 1975, caused by the division of the Indochina South in 1954. Vietnam is in the hands of the communist ideas. The Spring Beijing in Tiananmen in 1989 caused by students saying to corruption and the reforms in power. On June 4, the military cracked down on demonstrations. The attack on the Twin Towers in 2001 showed that the USA is now untouchable. Terrorism becomes the global discourse, initiating the war on terror in Afghanistan this year. In 2003, the United States invaded Iraq and overthrew the regime of Saddam Hussein. Emergence on digital communications and the emergence of social networks with the mass use of internet. The new century is also marked by the economic crisis of 2008, global reach, which continues to the economic rise of China, and the instability in the East called Arab Spring, and series of protests, conflicts, and even military interventions by the global control of energy resources in the Middle East. I think the Libyan War of 2011 and the Syrian Civil War